on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. If you don't know me, my name is Gabriel. I run this recording studio here. It's called Real Music. And today we're gonna be talking about my latest guitar acquisition, my new favorite guitar. This is a 2013 Stevie Ray Vaughan signature Strat. Now this thing is amazing, let me tell you. Something about this particular one too, it's just got this like mojo about it, this X factor. It feels so good when you're playing it. Just there's like the slinkiness about the strings, and it's just fantastic, just perfect. I was about 6 months ago, bought my wife a pretty expensive Christmas gift, and she told me she wanted to buy me an expensive Christmas gift too. She gave me a budget of about $1,500, and I immediately knew I wanted a guitar. I've only had one electric guitar since I really started playing electric guitar, and it's been my yellow Telly, which you've probably seen earlier on this channel. And I love that guitar, don't get me wrong, it's amazing, but it's a bit of a workhorse, plain Jane guitar. If you weren't like looking at it, you might not know it's a Telly. And that's kind of why I got it. It's very versatile, but it doesn't have a ton of character, a ton of like mojo about it. It's just kind of just like a good old jazz guitar. Whatever you want it to do, it'll do it. Rock, you know, it doesn't really matter. It'll do it all, and it does it very well. It's part of the reason why it has a humbucker on the neck. So that kind of makes it this really ambiguous sound. I knew when I was looking for a new guitar, I wanted something with a lot of character. I wanted something that really stood out from other guitars. So I immediately knew that I wanted single coils in my life. So immediately my head went to Strat. There's obviously a few other guitar types that use single coils, but none as prevalent or as famous as the Stratocaster. So I knew I was basically looking for a Strat. So I went on the hunt, and I went with several of my other guitar friends, specifically my friend Michael Angelis. He's another amazing, phenomenal guitar player and singer. We went to like 4 different guitar centers together, and then I think I went to like 3 others on my own. And I must have played 50, 60 different Strats. Used ones, new ones, and let me just tell you right off the bat, new guitars are not good these days. From Fender, from Gibson, from any of the big manufacturers of guitars, their quality control has really gone downhill, and they're no longer the great guitar makers that they used to be. Now, private, like, you know, boutique custom built guitars are always going to be amazing, but those are a lot of times out of the price range. I knew I was pretty much looking for a used guitar. There was kind of no way around it because I didn't like the new stuff. And I was like, honestly, almost giving up. I was like, man, I don't know if I'm going to get it. Maybe I'll get like a, you know, I was also thinking maybe I'll get like a nylon string or just get something else, you know, that's not a Strat. After a gig, I had some time to kill, and I went to my local guitar center. I'd gone to like all these other guitar centers, Pasadena, Hollywood, all like the big ones. They had like 5 or 6 Strats in the used section. I just said, yeah, I'm looking for the Strat. There was a Strat, I think, on the level down, like a little bit over. He didn't see, I guess, that one, so he went straight to that one, pulled it down. I was like, oh. And he handed it to me, and I was like, oh, I wasn't even looking at this one, but this is cool, I'll try it out. And I was immediately in love. I plugged it in, immediately played it. I was like, oh my God, this is just perfect. The neck shape, I have big hands, right? So I like fat neck shapes. This has a really nice, thick, fat neck. It just feels good. It's got a really flat radius on the fretboard, and it just felt so good instantly in my hands. And I was just loving the tones, and I was just in love. And I didn't even really know that it was an SRV. I was just like, oh, this is a cool, you know, tobacco burst Strat. Like, it just played really good. And then I started looking into it more. I noticed that it was an SRV. So that was on like a Wednesday that I originally found it, right? I probably played it for about an hour that day, loving every second of it. Didn't pick up another guitar after I had this one in my hands, and then I had to leave and go to dinner. Came back the very next day, pulled it down, played it again, and I was like, this is really sick. And I like went into their like vault room, and they had like some $3,000–4,000 Strats, custom shop Strats. I was, you know, A-Bing them, comparing them to this, and this was just slaying. Just destroying those other ones. I can't really describe what it is. Like, I wish I could say like, oh, it's this thing. It's just like this mojo, this X factor that this guitar has that just makes it play super good. It's so rewarding, and it just feels really, really nice in the hand. I think it was like $1,400. So right in that budget that I had, and yeah, it's just amazing. And like since then, I've, you know, my friend Michael, he has a Sir Strat, so a custom Sir Strat, and we've A/B'd those together, and like I think mine plays a little better than his, honestly. Like, it just feels so good. And, you know, obviously his has got some nicer material and it looks really fancy. It's like the Rolls Royce or the Rolex. I would say it's the Rolex of guitars. This has got something that it's just this X factor. It just plays really nice. And everyone who picks it up feels the same way. They're just like, wow. I was playing at church a few weeks ago and we had a guest bass player who's also a guitarist. And he actually owns one of these. He has like a 1995 version of this. And he said he really doesn't like the way his plays. And then I let him play mine and he was like, oh my God, this is so different. Like, what did you do to it? And I'm like, nothing. It's like, it's the way I found it. Like, it's just amazing. I've had a little bit of work done. I had the frets leveled and crowned. I had a setup done on it. And then I had it modified to be a 7-way Strat. There's no push pulls or anything like that. What I had my technician do is he turned this tone knob into a dedicated neck volume. So when this tone knob is all the way down, which I usually have it all the way down, I keep these two up and this one all the way down. It's just a regular 5-way Strat, right? Just as you would expect, neck, neck middle, middle only, middle bridge, bridge only, right? When you're in the bridge position and you take this tone knob and roll it up, now you get bridge and neck together, which is not a position that's normally available on Strats. So you get these two together. And when you're in 4th position and you engage this tone knob, you get all 3 pickups, which you can never get on a normal Strat, all 3 pickups. So it allows 2 extra positions. And there's kind of this 8th position that I like to say. When you're in the middle position here with this rolled up, you're using these 2 pickups, but they're not humbucking. They don't humbuck off of each other. So it's like 2 single coils at the same time, which is a very interesting sound versus being in position 2 here with this down. You get the same pickups, but they are humbucking off of each other. And when pickups humbuck, it changes their tone a little bit. So it's just kind of this like mystical like 8th tone that you can get out of it with this modification. It's not really a new position, so it's still a 7 position Strat, but you kind of get this like 8th tone option by being able to select those 2, or be here in the middle and roll this up, and then you get single coil of those version of those 2. So it's a really cool guitar. I have it floating, just about a half step of floating. I don't use the whammy bar because this being a Stevie Ray Vaughan Strat, it's built to his specifications. He actually has a left-handed bridge on here, so the whammy is on top instead of on bottom like it is on most. So it kind of gets in my way. I don't love it, but what I do is I just rest my palm on the bridge, and that's plenty for me to get that half step out. I can get a full half step by pushing down, and then I can always just pull on it and it gets the same effect. Put strap locks on it, of course. Had to get the gold ones because all the gold hardware. I'm gonna go through the positions. I'm gonna start with this tone knob rolled all the way down, all right? So this neck volume that it is now is all the way down. So I have these 2 all the way up. So I'm gonna start off with just some neck tones, all right? So. Here's position 2. I'm gonna quickly show you that 8th position while I'm here. So what I'm doing now is I'm in the middle position on the selector, and I'm taking my tone knob and I'm rolling it all the way up. So I'm still getting these 2 positions, but they're not humbucking. I really like this position for like jazz. I feel like this is a good jazz tone. It's a really good jazz tone. there. So that's that kind of 8th position. Now rolling the tone knob back down. Now we have the middle pickup only. That's a really nice, like, funky tone. Position 4, classic. Beautiful. And of course, the bridge by itself. Super great. This obviously loves a little distortion. I'm going to switch over to a little bit of gain. Absolutely just beautiful. Let's get into some of the 7 positions. So right now with the selector all the way on the bridge, I'm going to roll this tone up. I'm going to go back to that clean Fender-y tone. So here is like what would be a telly in the mid position, right? So we've got these 2 pickups now. Super classic tone, right? You got it just sounds excellent. Sweet, and then all 3 pickups, which is kind of interesting, like out of phase thing going on. I don't know if I'm in love with that tone, all 3. I haven't really used it too much. These pickups are special. They are called Texas Special pickups, which means that they have extra winding on them. Normal Strat pickups have 20,000 revolutions of copper wiring around them. These have double that. They have about 40,000 revolutions, so it makes them much hotter, higher output, which causes some definitely interesting things. Like, I'm sure if you know, when you have gain on with an electric guitar, you can usually roll the volume knob back a little bit and it'll clean up. Not with these. These are like just bats. They're so high output that like there's rolling the volume back doesn't really do much. It's still just hot and gainy. All right, let's get to some Stevie Ray Vaughan jam.